Hello folks, Lemon here, and today I wanted to talk about CSR3. I mean, the beta came out around a month ago and no one is talking about it anymore, so it seems like the optimal time to do that. But look, when CSR3 was announced, I saw so much hate for CSR3 that I have decided that in this video I'm gonna be simping for CSR3 basically, because I think that some of the hate that the game is getting, even though it's not even out yet, it seems fairly unreasonable. So in this video we're sort of gonna go over the main points of hate for CSR3 and see if they are reasonable or not. This is going to be like one of those unscripted videos that I apparently do now, but hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do, make sure to subscribe for more content, because like 10% of the people that watch my channel are actually subscribed. But anyway, let's start off with the most hilarious of hate points for CSR3. The graphics look horrible. No, the graphics look amazing. They look better than CSR2. What are you talking about? Like, there's not much that I can say about this, because like the only thing that you need to see that this hate reason is bullshit is like your eyes. So no, CSR3 looks great. I don't think anyone can say anything about it. Plus, even if CSR3 didn't look as good, why would you care about graphics in like a mobile game at this point? I mean, basically any game that comes out at this point, unless it's like stylized to look like pixelated, like pixel car racer or whatever, is going to look at least passable. I mean, Rush Racing 2 came out 4 years ago and is somehow still playable, but that game looks passable. The graphics really don't matter, and CSR3 is gonna look better than its competition. I mean, there are visual preferences, but like, come on, CSR3 looks great. That's pretty undeniable. One reasonable point of hate for the CSR3 graphics would be that perhaps the benchmarks for playing the game would actually be higher, but that's something that we're gonna have to wait and see when the game actually comes out. Next up, people are hating on the fact that there won't only be drag racing in the game, but the game's gonna have a cornering mechanic as well, which I think is pretty funny because, you know, like usually the more features the game has, the better it is. I mean, look, as a person that really doesn't like change, I do have to admit that I think that them adding like a cornering ability is going to add a lot more variety to the game, especially because I believe in the developers, and them knowing that they won't make the mechanics seem like it was in Forza Street, because that was absolutely awful. I feel like they can definitely implement a cornering mechanic in a way that's actually gonna add to the game, not take away from it. And we saw that with the introduction of 3 different types of cars. What was it, like power, balance, and like, I don't know, control or something like that, and that already adds way more variety to the game. So it seems like the developers are not only remaking CSR2, but are actually taking steps to make this game even better, which, like, it being a beta, and you know, we're not sure if it's gonna release in the way that the beta was presented, but it's definitely a sign that shows that the developers are actually developing something new. So I would take that as a good thing, and I'm really looking forward to CSR3 when it actually comes out. Next up is a thing that honestly I was not the biggest fan of, which is the lack of lower tier cars. Now, CSR2 focused mostly on like hypercars, but you did have some regular cars in there as well, like the Fiesta ST and the Subaru BRZ, stuff like that. I mean, obviously the emphasis was on faster cars, but you still had those attainable dream cars, you know? And that's something that I feel like so far has been lacking with CSR3, because like your starter cars had like Cayman GT4, a Toyota Supra, and like a Mustang. I think it was like the Dark Horse or something, which is absolutely insane. I mean, that's like Forza levels of starter cars. But again, it was only a beta, so we're still not sure if the full game is going to have lower tier cars. But personally, I think it will. Next up, the blueprint system. Now, I've talked about in my other CSR3 video how basically back on CSR2 you could just open a crate and you would instantly get a car out of it. which doesn't seem to be the case with CSR3, because when you open a crate you only get a few like blueprints of a certain car, which means that you'll have to either open multiple crates or get the blueprints in another way. And initially it's not a system that I am like a huge fan of, but with that said, I did go looking on like the CSR3 frequently asked questions section, and I did see that the blueprints will be attainable by other means as well, meaning that you won't only have to pay money to open the crates, but you will earn them through progression. And in that case, honestly, it might not be the worst idea of all time. I would still hope that there's going to be certain crates which will just award you the car instantly. But other than that, you know, earning cars through progression, that seems like a decent way to go, and I don't think it's deserving of the hate that it's been getting. And finally, this is probably going to be the biggest point of hate, because people that still play CSR2, and I mean I played CSR2 up until very recently as well, they just hate that CSR3 could potentially be replacing CSR2, because there would be basically no transferring over of the cars from CSR2 to CSR3. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest, there is still some speculation about whether, you know, cars will transfer over, but my speculation is that no, the cars will not transfer over. I mean, there's so many cars in CSR2 that CSR3 will definitely not have at the start. Plus, you know, the goal of developing a new game is basically for people to spend money on it. So if all the players of CSR2, you know, came to the game and had their cars already, obviously they wouldn't be spending. So I don't think it would make sense to develop a new game if they didn't made you start over, which is unfortunate, but I do remain optimistic that there will be at least some sort of compensation for people transferring from CSR2 to CSR3. What that is, we'll have to see. It's probably going to be like a car or something, but your whole garage will definitely not transfer over. But if you think about it logically, I don't think it's reasonable for you to expect to have, you know, your garage with like multiple hundred cars in a completely new game, unfortunately. With that said, I do think that they plan to keep CSR2 alive for years to come, which would make sense. I mean, CSR1 is even still playable. I mean, multiplayer was shut down a while ago, but still, I think that they have, you know, full intention of keeping CSR2 as it is, with, you know, perhaps the updates get less frequent, but that's what happens when a game gets older. Now, I saw a video saying that the speculation at this point is that CSR3 is going to release in like August of 2025, which that seems about right. I mean, I heard that for the CSR2 beta, basically that was released around like a year prior to the game actually being released. So the time window seems to match. In any way, hopefully, you know, I didn't piss anyone off with this video. I guess we'll have to see, but CSR3 at the end of the day is a game that's going to be pretty awesome. I'm definitely going to be playing it, and I'm willing to give all of these, you know, points of worry the benefit of the doubt. So yeah, that's going to be about it. Please let me know in the comment section if you agree with what I've talked about here, or do you think that CSR3 is beyond saving, even though it's not out yet. Anyways, my name is Jerry, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care.